Hey everybody, don't die of shock, but it's Joy. I'm back. Yes, I had in the whole wide world that watches my vlogs, 2 whole people say they missed me. So this video is for those 2 whole people that missed me, okay? And watch, okay lady that hates to see me drink coffee and hates to hear me, start plug your ears real quick. I'm drinking out of my mother's type of china cup. My mother likes little cups and she likes them to be china. She doesn't like to drink out of the giant sized mugs that I like to drink out of. So this is in memory of my mother living with me, okay? And you're going, oh, what happened to your mother? Nothing bad happened to my mother. Let me put this down, y'all, on a coaster over here, okay? I don't know, it must be just yesterday. It's been 1 week that my mom's been gone. Just yesterday. So, from 1 week ago and about 8 days prior to that, it was on a Saturday morning, and I had been weeks just a basket case because I wasn't getting very much sleep because my mother was getting worse in her dementia, and she was mixing up nights and days. She was getting up in the middle of the night. She kept coming in our room and waking us up at night. She was needing much more care on the weekends. She was having accidents that I had to help her clean up, and she was so forgetful. She couldn't remember how to turn the television on and how to choose 2 stations. She only listened to 2 stations, ones that had pianos in them. She went from watching MASH all the time to no MASH at all, because she got mad because one of the MASH episodes ended and it said to be continued, and then she never did see the one that was after that that was to be continued, so it made her mad, so she never would watch MASH again, and she never did. And so then she started watching all the Christian channels, TBN and I don't know what they're all called now, but anyway, there's 3 or 4 of them there, and she was watching them all the time. Well, then she switched to where she didn't like that anymore. She only wanted to watch channels that had a piano in them. And it couldn't just have a piano playing. She wanted to see whoever's hands on the piano playing. So there was one station, and it was not my favorite preacher by any means, Jimmy Swaggart, and I didn't even know he had his own channel. And it's called SBN or something. Well, Jimmy Swaggart has an amazing talent for playing the piano and singing, as you all probably know. We won't mention his other talents, but anyway. Lots of music and lots of pianos. And she would always say, Joy, Joy, I have been searching and searching, and I can't find the one where they do their hands like this on the piano. And it's something he would do at the end of his songs. He would come down at the end of the piano and go diddle-diddle-diddle on the keys. Well, she just loved that. And so Doreen and I spent half our time in there trying to find this guy doing diddle-diddle on the end of the keyboard. And the only other channel she watched was one that was a music-only channel. And she couldn't understand why somebody was playing the piano, but she couldn't see the piano. You know, on the music stations, it just shows the channel and what song they're playing maybe. And so she loved the music, and it had a lot of piano in it, and it was Christian music, but she couldn't see the piano. So she would sit in her room hour after hour after hour after hour, switching back and forth between 344 and 828, and 344 and 828. Sometimes I would go in her room and she'd be standing right in front of the TV with the buttons, and I'd walk in and she'd say, Joy, thank goodness you came in here. I have been trying for an hour to get that piano music on. So, point being, Mother was taking much more of my time. And I didn't have the time to start with. I was supposed to be working, taking care of getting ready for accreditation at our store. I had missed my dentist appointment. I had missed my neurologist appointment. I had missed my vein doctor appointment. I'd missed a surgery. And I had just kind of put my whole life on hold when Mom moved in with me. Because, as you know, my siblings are just big zeros in her life. I asked one of my sisters to keep her for 4 hours one afternoon. And she just had a fit. How dare you Who do you think you are? If you need someone to watch her, get somebody else to watch her. I'm only going to be there an hour. I mean, can y'all even believe that? Can you even believe it? And then there was the other sister who's completely disowned me. I'm not even her sister anymore, so I guess that means mother's not her mother anymore. And then there's my brother who's completely absorbed into his wife's family. He'll do anything for them, crawl across the burning desert. He calls her mother, mother. He's there for her all the time, there for the dad all the time. And it's all about her. And his family's just somebody he used to be involved with, but he's not anymore because he calls it his own family, and he's not in this family anymore, so whatever. So that's the siblings. So anyway, I was sitting there on a Saturday, and I was having one of my stress headaches, and Mother was needing me, and I didn't have sitters on the weekend, and during the week I only had somebody that could come, maybe 6 hours a day, maybe 8 at the most, but usually about 6, and so that left a whole lot of time for just me. And so I was just, after having no sleep for weeks. I have always, my whole life, from when I was little, gotten 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night. I just always have. Even when I was divorced and trying to find a husband and going out with my friends to clubs, and they would want to stay till the club closed till 2 a.m. I'm like, I can't do that. I've got to get home. It's 9 o'clock. I've got to get to bed. And I'm like, what? So anyway, I was very sleep deprived is my point. And this one Saturday, I was just, and my husband was very understanding of her and very good to her, but he left whenever he wanted to leave, and he did whatever he wanted to do, and he went fishing, or he left town, or he did whatever. And so I was the one that always had to stay, and I couldn't go fishing with him, and I couldn't come up here with him, and I couldn't do anything with him because I had to stay. I was the cement, and I could not move. So one Saturday, I thought, you know what? I've got to start looking for a place, one of those places for people that have dementia. I've got to start looking for one of those places, and I had already been up here. This is going to be long, you guys, so you might want to go get a cup of coffee, huh? Anyway, for all of you sweet people who have been sending my mom cards and been so thoughtful and so caring, I wanted to tell you the story. So anyway, I thought, I'm going to see if I can find a good place to send my mother, to take her to, you know. And so I started looking up here at our Edmond home. And I thought, well, I'll look up there. I hated autumn leaves because they lock them out of the room all day long, and they put them in that one big room, and they've got that perfume coming through the vents, and it's highly scented, and everybody's just sitting there like zombies. They're all on drugs, and I hated it. I just hated it. I wouldn't dare put my mother in there. So I thought, well, I'll check into it. And Jerry came in, he said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm just looking around to see if maybe there's a place for Mom I could check into. Because it's just getting really hard for me with her needing so much care. And he said, well, where are you looking? I said, well, I'm looking up in Edmond because, you know, I thought she'd want to be up there with her other 3 kids who are near here. And so I thought I'd see if I could find some place up there, and that way they could go visit her. And he said, why, Joy? Why? Why are you always thinking about them? They haven't called. They haven't visited even one time. They couldn't care less about your mother or you. Why are you always thinking about them? Why don't you find a place down here that's near us? And I said, oh, they're not going to be any place down here in this one-horse town. How are they going to have any place down here? But he left. That was up in my sewing room on my computer. And he left, and I thought, well, I'll just look a little bit down here. So I can say, I listened to you and I looked down here. So I Googled senior living in such and such town. And the very first thing that came up was a name of a place, and it had 5 stars next to it, and it said it was for memory patients only. And it was very close to me, and the most wonderful part is it was very close, just a couple miles away from the hospice that Mother has been on for the last 1.5 years. And she's had the same aide, she's had the same nurse, she's had the same wonderful, fabulous, adorable preacher. And all of the same people have been coming to see her. That was another issue with this, is people were always coming to my house. There was no privacy whatsoever, just none. And somebody always at the front door, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, yes, here's my mother. Oh, yes, she's in a bad mood. Oh, I'm sorry, her TV's as loud as it will go, and you can't even hear her. And it was, you know, you had to be hospitable all the time. And that was hard. It was hard for me, hard for Jerry. Jerry works there, has an office there. And, you know, he had to keep his doors closed because there's just so much going on all the time. There's just so many different things that were causing problems in my marriage. I mean, that's another whole issue. But anyway, and I read back when I very first did this that a lot of these situations end up in divorce. And don't worry, that's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen here. But anyway, there were issues. So, anyhow, I saw this place, saw 5 stars. I told Jerry, I said, oh my gosh, I found this place that has 5 stars. And so I called them up. I asked them, number one, did they have any room? Yes, they had room. I asked them if I could come meet them and have a tour and find out about it. Yes, I could. I asked them if Mother's Hospice could come there to visit my mother. Oh, yes, they come there all the time. And so the next day, which was Sunday afternoon, it was the weekend, so I asked Jerry, would you please stay with Mom this afternoon, because I want to go down there and I want to go through there and check that place out. So I did. I went there, and of course, you know, the managers and the bosses and everybody are gone on the weekend, and so it's just the weekend crew, which is why I wanted to go then. And so I went and I walked in, and my very first impression was, oh my gosh, this place is immaculate. I cannot believe how clean it is. And that was one of the reviews. They said it's the cleanest place I ever went into, and I'm like, wow. And so I'm like, I wonder what the rooms are like. So I met this cute little girl named Tracy, and I said, oh, could you show me the rooms? I'm just wondering what they're like, and if you have one available, I'm thinking about moving my mom here. And the first thing I wanted to know when I walked in the door is, do you have a piano? Well, right after I walked in the door, I saw the piano, so I'm like, piano. The next thing I wanted to know is, can my mother have what she wants to eat here? Yep, she can have whatever she wants to eat. So then I said, show me the rooms. So they took me into the rooms. All the rooms were painted this color. Yellow, gold, whatever you call it. And I thought, oh my gosh, my mother will never like it in this room. She will hate this color. She won't look good in here. She's got white hair. She looks good in real pretty, gorgeous, pale colors, you know, not gold, not redhead colors. And so I turned to little Tracy and I said, oh my gosh, my mother just couldn't never have yellow walls. I said, gold walls. I said, is there any way I can paint the room? She said, oh yes, you can paint the room any color you want. I said, really? I said, do I have to have somebody come in here and paint? She said, oh no, we'll do it for you. We have our own painter. I'm like, check. So then she gave me a tour of the rest of the place, and back in one of the corners was a beauty shop. I said, oh my gosh, you have a beauty shop. I said, does somebody work here that can do my mom's hair? Yep, there's a guy here every Monday and Tuesday, and the ladies just love him. Check. Someone to give my mom a perm. I don't have to go pick her up and bring her up here to Penny's in Oklahoma City. So, I mean, my heart was just going, yes, 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 yes. So, the next thing was, I wanted to go back with Jerry, and I wanted to go on a Monday, and I wanted to meet the people who were in charge, right? And so we went back, and I found out who was in charge, and they said, come back tomorrow, and we'll fill out all the paperwork, and find out what color you want the room, and blah, 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 blah. And so I went and found a paint chip. I was making a quilt, and it was a quilt for my mom, and she had seen me doing it, and she kept saying, I just love that quilt, I just love that quilt. We went in there, and we filled out all the paperwork, and I gave them the paint chip, and the paint chip I got by matching. I picked up a whole bunch of purple and violet paint chips from Walmart, and I took them home and I matched them to the quilt I was working on, okay? So we had all of Mom's original furniture that she owned in her own home. It was in her bedroom. And we didn't put it in her bedroom in our house because we already had a full set of furniture in there. And we didn't want to move it out. And so we just put hers over in Jerry's big barn, and we had it all covered up with sheets. And so we moved all that to her room, and I got her a new bedspread. We bought her a new bed, and We fixed everything up really, really nice. I was there, I don't know, about 7 or 8 days. And Doreen would sneak clothes into plastic bags and put them out in the garage, and I would go home and I would get the bags and I would take them over there, and I would sit in the room and I would put her room number in every single pair of panties, every single pair of socks, every single pair of pants, every single shirt, all her pajamas, all her house coats, all her towels, every washcloth, every single thing in that room had to be labeled with her room number. So I spent hours and hours and hours doing that. So anyway, then came the day when I was going to have to tell her about it, and I wasn't going to tell her about it because I knew that she wouldn't be able to process the information, and she wouldn't be able to sleep at night. She'd be in my room every 10 minutes. Now, when is this going to happen, and where is it going to be, and how is it going to work out, and why are you doing it, and oh, it just would have been endless. So I decided that we would just wait until the day of, and then what I finally ended up doing was I went there first because I wanted to meet with the 3 bosses there, the director of nurses, the administrator, and the lady that's in charge of activities. 3 fabulous, wonderful, marvelous people. Thank God, you cannot even believe what they put up with from me. I was constantly asking them questions. My mom wants this, my mom wants this, can you do this, can you do that? What is she this, what is she that? And constantly crying. I felt so guilty, and I was constantly crying. I was crying so much that Mother noticed something was wrong with me when I would come home. And she was so loving and sweet to me, and she'd say, "Sweetie, is something wrong? Come here, let Mom hug you." And oh my gosh, the tears would just flow even worse, just worse. And I'd run down the hall and just get on my bed and bawl and bawl and bawl. And one night I was in my room and it was late, and I was just hysterical. Am I doing the right thing? How is she going to take it? Oh, I just feel awful. I feel awful. And so, and my husband, this was part of the problem. When my husband would see me like that, instead of giving me a hug and telling me everything was going to be okay and that he would help me, he would say, "Why don't you just quit crying? Why don't you just quit worrying? How's that going to help anything? Just quit worrying." And I'd just cry even more and scream at him and tell him he was an insensitive rhinoceros. So anyway, I texted Terry and I said, "Can you come down here?" So she came right down and she came in my bed and she just gave me the biggest hug and she told me everything was going to be okay and I was doing the right thing. And shortly after that, the administrator, her name is Beth, she called me and I cried on her shoulder for 30 minutes and she was precious. "Joy, whatever you want us to do, we will do it. If your mother wants grapes twice a day, she'll have grapes twice a day. If your mother wants strawberry ice cream twice a day, she'll have strawberry ice cream twice a day. If your mother wants a shake in the morning, we'll make it exactly like you tell us. We will take care of her. We will check on her. Please don't worry. We will take care of your mother." So, those 2 things. And then, I don't remember what night it was. I don't know if it seems like it was a couple nights before we actually moved her. But hold on 1 minute for me. I've got to take a break and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So it was a week ago. Yesterday was the day to move my mother. I had the TV hooked up. Oh, that was another thing they did for me. Nobody there had satellite television. Everybody had cable. And the first little girl told me, "Oh no, we just use cable here. Nobody's allowed to have satellite dishes." So we called the cable company and said, "We need station 344 and station 828, and told them whatever the names were. They said, "We don't have that." We called cable company number 2. "We don't have that. We don't have those stations." So the only way we could get those 2 stations was to get DirecTV in there. And nobody in the whole place, out of 40 rooms or however many they had that. No satellite dishes. And so, "Oh, I can't do it, it's not going to work out." And so I texted Beth. Tex gave me her phone number. She said, "You can call me night or day anytime." And dear Lord, I bet she was so sorry she told me that. I was texting her every 10 minutes. I said, "Oh, I'm afraid this isn't going to work out." I said, "The only way I can get Mother's TV stations is to have DirecTV come in and hook it up." She said, "No problem, you can do it, Joy." I'm telling you, it was just awesome the way those people worked with me, especially with me constantly nagging them and asking them 50,000 questions and constantly crying. I'm sure they thought, dear Lord, she needs to paint a room for herself here. Never mind her mother. So the day came a week ago yesterday, and this is how I handled it. I told Jerry. Jerry was at home. I left early because I had to meet the DirecTV people to get her TV hooked up in her room. And so I had to leave like 7:30 in the morning. And I told Jerry, I want you to tell Mom that I want to have lunch with her today. And so after the aides get done getting her ready and fixing her hair, tell her that you want to take her to come have lunch with me. And so that's what we told her. And the hospice people, wonderful people, they came to support me. The preacher came to support me. He was there. I'll show you guys a little video clip if I can figure out how to. The preacher came, her male nurse named Philip, who's been with her all this time, he was there. The aide, Mary, who comes every morning to give her bath and fix her hair and dress her, she was there. And it was just so much loving support. So I was a basket case. Oh, just a basket case. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Walking around pacing. I was walking up and down the floor and everybody was looking at me like, dear Lord, lady, what is your problem? So finally she was at the front door. I'm like, oh my God, she's here. Oh my God, she's here. So I waited at her room so she couldn't see me. And so when they brought her in and right away they showed her where we were going to eat. And then right around the corner was the piano. And then she saw me. I was standing out in the hall and I said, oh, Mom, you're here. I have the biggest surprise for you. And so she came to me and I took her in the room. And I tell you people, it couldn't have gone any smoother, any better. Mother was in awe of her room. This is mine? Are you serious? This is really my room? Really, these are my chairs? This is my bed? This is my bathroom? Oh my gosh. And I showed her the quilt on the wall and how every time she looked at it, I wanted her to know that quilt said, I love you, Mom. And remember that I made it from her. I hung the quilt right above her bed. And she just couldn't get over it. The only thing she didn't like was the seat lift chair. My husband decided she needed a seat lift chair instead of her own blue chair that she'd been sitting in forever. And so he got her the seat lift chair. My mother couldn't figure out the button. She didn't know if it did the chair, if it did the TV, and she was all mixed up and didn't know what to do, and she didn't like it, so we had to take that out. But that was the only problem, and put her own blue chair in there. So anyway, right after she came in and we showed her room, we went out and said, Mom, do you want to come play the piano? And so we took her over to the piano and opened it up so she could play it. And I didn't know. I thought, will she be able to play it? Has she completely forgotten? Does she remember? Well, she didn't remember really good, but she remembered pretty good. But anyway, it went extremely well. And so that very same morning, before my mother got there, I forgot to tell you this, I asked the three bosses, I call them, the director of nursing, the activities lady, and the administrator. I asked them if they would come into Mother's room. I kept trying to show them Mother's room. I wanted to show them the dresser. I wanted to show them where her underwear was. I wanted to show them, I wrote her room number and everything. I wanted to show them her pajamas. I wanted to show them how she only likes this and she only likes that, and this has to be here and this has to be there and blah, blah, blah. And nobody cared. They kept saying, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. So I asked them, I said, would you please let me meet with you in Mom's room, the three of you, before she gets here? And they said, sure. And so all three of them came. They all three sat down. And I stood in front of them. And I told them, I said, I realize that I have been the wicked bitch around here for the last 8 days. I'm always crying or complaining or doing something, and I apologize for that. But I said, I am so connected to my mother and everything that's happened and everything I know about her, that I feel like I'm not a good daughter to her if I can't tell you about her and how she is and what she needs. And I said, if you'll just let me talk for 10 minutes, just no matter what I say, just let me talk for 10 minutes. And I promise you, after my mother's here today, I will go away and you will not hear from me or see me for 2 weeks. And they're like, yeah, right. So I had prepared pictures to give to them. And I explained to them how I hadn't seen my mother for 4 years. My mother didn't want me to come around. She was afraid I was going to put her in a nursing home because my sister kept telling her I was going to put her in a nursing home. I hadn't seen her for 4 years. I knew she was living in squalor, in rags, and her house was full of mice, but there wasn't anything I could do about it because of my siblings. So I told them about the day that Mom called me, and she said, God told me to call you and ask you to take care of me. I keep falling, and I can't take care of myself anymore. Is there any way you can help me? And that was January 1, 2017, New Year's Day. And she was here by 7 o'clock that night in this home. And I have had her ever since then. So I showed them pictures of her that night. And I showed them pictures of her the day she fell on the floor and passed out and cut her head, and she had blood all over the side of her head, and she had pulled the bathroom rug up on top of her because she couldn't get off the floor and she was cold. She pulled the bathroom rug on top of her. And I showed them pictures of the rags she was wearing. It was all on one page, and I put those pictures on. I said, this is what my mother looked like when I got her. And I said, I stopped my life the day she came to me. I said, I was supposed to have an MRI. I didn't have it. I was supposed to go to the dentist. I didn't go. I was supposed to have surgery the next day. I canceled it, blah, 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 blah. So I've been taking care of my mother and only doing my mother for the last year and 4 months. And so then I said, I want you to see what my mother looks like now. So I had taken several pictures from her birthday party and put them on paper. And so I handed them that picture. And I tell you, I saw tears in the eyes. And so they understood. It's like they got it. It's like they saw, no wonder she's a basket case. Me, not my mother. And it's like they got it. And then I finished telling them what I wanted to tell them, and they all were so loving and so sweet. The director of nursing, her name is Linda, she came up to me and she hugged me and she said, Joy, from now on, you are your mother's daughter. You don't have to worry about her care anymore. You are her daughter and she is your mother. And Beth, the one that called me, I went over and I gave her a big hug, told her she was an angel for calling me that night. I apologized to all of them and told them how wonderful the place was. I said on a scale of 1 to 10, this place is a 50. I just want you to know that I'm super, super impressed with you and how this place is run and with all that you've done for me. And so that went extremely well, and they all left. And then I was relieved. I felt like I had emptied my heart and I had said everything I wanted to say, and it was received. And so I felt like I was free to go. And so then we went out and we had the lunch together, and Mother complained the whole time, even though they brought her grapes. The very first thing they served in the entire room was her grapes. But then she wanted to know, where was her dinner? Why was she waiting? Go up to the window. Tell them I want my dinner now. You know, she was used to Joy and Doreen and instant service every day. And they had 40 people in there, and they had to take turns taking everybody their dinner. And so anyway, she complained, but finally they brought us the dinner, and it was very, very good. She complained because they had sweet potatoes and they weren't white potatoes, and she only liked white potatoes, blah, blah, blah. I told them she doesn't like white bread, so they gave her wheat bread, and then she complained because she didn't like bread with her dinner. She only wanted it with her sandwiches, so anyway, we survived it. We got through dinner. And at some point, she sat down and played the piano, did I tell you, and the preacher sang next to her. Oh, it went on for quite a bit, and I thought, oh my gosh, where's my camera, where's my camera, and where's my phone? And by the time I found my phone, she was almost done, so I only got a smidgen of it.
To worlds unknown, I will reign with him on high. Jesus, Jesus.
But it was just like the Lord saying to me, Joy, you have done the right thing. This is okay. And so I'm back in the room. The preacher was there, and the nurse was there, and the aide was there, and Doreen was there, and Jerry was there. The place was full of people. No, Jerry'd already left. And so I walked over to Mom, sitting in her chair, and I said, Mom, I'm going to leave now. I said, I'm going to be taking a couple weeks off and getting some doctor appointments done and some things I need done. And I don't know if she even said anything. And so I turned, and the preacher came up to me, and he gave me a hug, and he said, Joy, go. We've got this. Just go. And so I walked out, and I have not seen my mother since that day or talked to her on the phone. I told him I'd be gone for 2 weeks, and I am. I am on a 2-week vacation from that, from life in general, and I'm up here at my other house, and I'm seeing my friends. I saw Philly, and I saw Margaret. I've made my doctor appointments. I've got all that stuff rescheduled. I got to watch my baby while his parents moved. I had him for several days and one night, and oh, cute, 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 cute baby. And I'll get to keep him some more, I'm sure. But anyway, that's the end of the story on my mom, and I'm having Doreen, her caretaker. While I'm gone for this 2 weeks, I'm having Doreen go in every morning and every night because she works close to there and she gets off about 8 o'clock at night. And so she goes and checks on her at night. And so I'm hearing back from Doreen how Mother's doing. And she told me yesterday that Mother walked up to the office where the administrator was, and she said the administrator and the other girl that's the activities lady that's really sweet were both in there. And Mother went in and told them, Joy and Jerry have done the right thing. I am happy here. So, praise God. Praise God. Praise God. I am so happy. So anyway, that's all about Mother. So I'm going to make another video here and show you guys what's in these boxes. But I'm going to start a new video so people that want to see what I got don't have to listen all about my mother. People that don't even know who she is. So bye for now, guys.